Okay, so the first thing you want to do before you bake or cook anything is wash your hands. Washing your hands is very important because you need to get rid of all the germs in your hands as not to spread sickness or illness on the food. You might not only get yourself sick, but you might get the people you're serving your food to sick. Most people recommend washing your hands for about 30 seconds or for the length of the happy birthday song sung slowly using soap and warm water in order to best kill all the germs. So you're just going to want to get your soap and then turn on warm water and wash your hands. Okay, for the Italian main dish, I will be making a baked cannelloni, and for the baked cannelloni it calls for olive oil, ground beef, onion, sage, rosemary, some cooking white wine, butter, flour, milk, and a lot of cheese. Now the first step obviously is to wash your hands, and I've already washed my hands because I earlier in the video already demonstrated how to wash my hands. And then the second step would be to make sure you have all your ingredients. And I have all the ingredients necessary for this meal here. And then the third step is a safety step, and you want to make sure all your knives are as sharp as possible and that you are cutting on the right surface. I'm going to be cutting an onion here, and so I can use a wood surface or a plastic surface. If you're cutting meat, you would not want to use a wood surface because the raw meat juices can get into the wood and contaminate your meal. Now, the recipe calls for half an onion, but this onion is extremely large, so I'll be using a fourth of an onion. And the first step when you cut an onion is to peel the first layer and the outside dead skin layer. So after you peel it, let's see here. Oh boy, it's gonna be a bugger. And a tip when trying to peel your onion is you can cut off the edges on both sides. And then it'll be much easier to peel, kind of. Stop. Okay, see, I have a layer peeled off now, and then you're just gonna peel it all the way around the onion. And then you're just going to want to peel it off, and then you're going to have your onion left. Then it calls for fourth onion, so you're just going to make sure you always use the bear claw technique with your thumb tucked and your fingers down like this, and you're just going to want to gently rock the blade along your, well, for the first cut you're going to want to just chop it because it's a little thick. And then you always want to make sure you have a flat surface to cut on, because otherwise it's a hazard. So then you're just going to take your bear claw technique, and it calls for a minced onion. You're just going to slowly rock along your knuckles until it's small. And you will never cut yourself that way because you won't be able to. Okay, I had to pause the video because I was starting to cry, and I also touched my face, so I made sure I went and washed my hands, because after you touch your face or anything on your body, you need to wash your hands again. So now that I'm back to the fourth of my onion, I'd already sliced it one time, so I'm going to use the bear claw technique again and cut it one more time, making sure that you're using the rocking motion. And now, as you can see, I have it into finer pieces, so then I'm just going to use this rocking motion in order to more finely chop, because it's very difficult to use the bear claw technique on pieces this small. So then all you're going to do is just keep your palm on the tip of the knife and just slowly rock with your other hand, and you're just going to keep chopping this onion smaller and smaller and smaller until it's minced, which is what the recipe calls for. Okay, once you have your onions minced, then what you're going to do is prepare your meat mixture. And the meat mixture calls for a pound of lean ground beef, your onions, a fourth teaspoon of both rosemary and sage, and then half a cup of olive oil. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your olive oil and then a liquid measuring cup, and you're going to measure out half a cup of olive oil. And when you do this, you want to make sure you get down to eye level so you can see exactly where it's measured. Alright, now I got it good. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come over to your saute pan, and then you're going to basically pour the oil in the saute pan and then add your meat. So I'm going to pour the oil in here, and then you want to make sure when you get your saute pan that it's the one with the rounded edges so you are able to flip it. And in this case, my saute pan was not big enough for all the meat mixtures, so I'm going to be using a bigger frying pan. And then you're going to take your pound of meat and put it in with the oil, like so. And then you're going to take a turner or something to move the meat with, and you're just going to gently mash the meat. And then you're going to let your meat cook for a while. Okay, once your meat starts to brown in the skillet or frying pan, you can take your onion that you minced and add it directly to the meat, like so. You scrape it off. And that onion is going to add flavor to the meat. And then the next step is to add 1/4 teaspoon of both rosemary and sage. So you're just going to dip it in the, or scoop it in the thing, level it off, and then add it directly to your mixture. And you're going to do the same with the sage. Make sure it's level. Let's see here. Alright, there it's level. And then add it. And then you're going to take your turner again, and you're just going to saute all of these ingredients together, and it's just going to add all the flavor to your meat mixture. Okay, once your meat mixture is beginning to be done cooking, you're going to want to bring it over to the colander and drain it. And another safety tip when cooking anything on a range like this, you always want to make sure your pan handles are turned away from the stove or into the stove. Never out here, because a young child or somebody may be able to knock it over and spill hot grease onto you. And so then you're just going to want to take it and carefully carry it over here, and then drain it all into the colander. And then what I like to do is I'm just going to take my colander and dump it right back into my pan. And then all the grease is gone, and then you can just bring your pan back to your burner and begin to do the next step.